Hello and welcome back. In the last part, we finished the retopology of the blade. Now, let's tackle the handle and wrap this up. Let's get to work. For the handle, we are not going to use any form of plugins. We'll do it manually. So I'll bring in a cylinder and I'll make sure the count is 16 from the beginning. Then I'm going to rotate in the y-axis 90 degrees. I'm going to scale it down to match the reference. Okay. So I'm just trying to match the reference. So I'll move it down, and this is very nice. Next thing I'm going to do, let me go to local view so that you see it. I'll press I to insert till somewhere around there. Out of local view, let's see. I still need to move it some more. This time around, I'll use S to scale it down again, so that's going to match our reference. Okay, something like this is fine. Now, I'll press E to extrude till I get around here, and then E to extrude again till I match my reference here. Good. And then I'll just extrude it to this point, 1, extrude it to the next point, 2. Now I'll extrude it again till I get to this part, and I'm going to scale it out. Yep, I'm going to scale it out around here. Cool. And then E to extrude here. So let's go to local view again, and then I'll press I to insert. Out of local view with /. So I'm moving G and X to move it out. Okay, so I'm scaling it down just to match, so it's going to match the reference. Okay, with this, we have the base of the handle. So now let's get those parts out. So I'll select this one, shift select this one, shift select this one. And then I'll press Alt E and I'll say extrude along face normals to have it all extruded like this. Nice. So I can right click and I'll say shader to smooth. Cool. So next is to do this bolt. This bolt is very easy. We can sculpt it just like I did in the Battle series, but this time around I'm just going to add in a cylinder to fix it. So let's add this reference. So I'll press Shift A and I'll bring in a cylinder. I think 16, let's do 12. 12 is fine. And then we're going to scale it down as well, and then we're going to scale it down, rotate in the x-axis 90, and then just position it somewhere around here. 7 to go to top orthographic view, and then I'm going to go to edit mode, and then I'm going to move it out in the y-axis till I get to somewhere around here. So look at this, guys. I want to move my pivot. Okay, I want to move my pivot. Okay, to do that, I'll go to edit mode and I'll select this part, and I'll press Shift S, cursor to selected. Go back to object mode, right click, and I'll say set origin to 3D cursor. Okay? You can see that my origin now has snapped to this part of the mesh. Okay, so I'll press S and Y to scale it down, and now G and Y, and I'll put it somewhere right there. It's fine. So let's see how it looks. So I'm going to scale it out some more. Okay, and then I want to delete the face. We don't need it since we're not going to see it. It's extra information that we're not needing. Okay, So let's apply our scale for this particular object and then the scale for the handle. Okay, so I'll right click and I'll say shade auto smooth. Rather, let's do shade smooth, and then it's going to be looking ugly around here. No problem. We are going to bevel the face. So with the face selected, I'll press Ctrl B and then middle mouse scroll. I want this. This is fine. Yep, let's confirm to our reference. Have more bevel, but I feel this is fine. So next thing to do, I'll go to edit mode and I'll select everything. I want to use the spin tool to duplicate this. So I'm going to spin around. But for the spin tool to work, I need my cursor to be at a very strategic position. So I'll select this face, I'll select this object, and then click on this face, and I'll press Shift S, cursor to selected. So the cursor is going to be here. Now with this bolt selected, I'll go to edit mode, select everything with letter A, and then I'll scroll down to my T panel, and then I'll click on spin. And then I'll make sure use duplicate is selected, and the steps, I just want it to be 3. And then I'll make sure I'm in my X axis. I don't know what axis is going to work hard for you depending on the way you started your project, but for me, X works fine. So with the X selected, I'm just going to click to rotate, and then you can see the duplicates. Now with this menu popped up, I'll just press 270 and enter. Good. So now I can switch back to my selection tool and then start adjusting the bolts to match our work, okay? Okay, this is fine. So let's select it and then Shift B to duplicate the X axis. Let's put one around here. So now let's adjust. So now I can adjust this. 7 to go to my topographic view, go to edit mode, and then I'll just move this out a tad and then this one out a tad. Let's fix this. Them to match each other. So I'll select this one again, Shift D to duplicate, and then move it in the X. So now I'll select all the bolts together and then press Ctrl J. Let's name them bolts. So for this handle, let's add in the bevel modifier. And I want the segment to be 3. And then profile, I prefer using 0.7. Geometry, meter outer, I like using arc. And then I'm going to disable lamp overlap. And you see it's going to be looking wonky, no problem. I'll just reduce the amounts I have over here. And I'll right click and I'll say shade smooth. So let's adjust the amounts. Okay. Now all that is left is to do this rope thingy and this back. Simple. Okay, so let's make this part. So I'll hide this since I have my reference in PureRef. So I'll press Shift A and then I'm going to bring in a UV sphere and I'll make sure the count is 16. Okay. So with that, I'll scale it down. Make sure I apply my scale Now let's move it somewhere around here and then rotate it in the X 90 degrees, sorry, in the Y 90 degrees. Still too big, so let's scale it down some more. Then move it to be somewhere around here. Okay, cool. So I'll select this part like this, and then X to delete the face, and I'll select this edge ring, and then I'll press F to fill it in. Let's see. I think this is still too big, so let's scale it down some more. Okay, so I'll go to edit mode, and then I'll select this face, and I'll press I to insert, and I'm going to extrude it out a bit. So let's move it till we have this. I think now it's too small, so I will scale it out. So I'll select this edge ring, and I'll press Ctrl B to bevel, and then I'll press C to enable clamping. So if I don't enable clamping, C is going to flow through. But when I enable clamping with the letter C, it's just going to stop when it meets the other edge, okay? So with that, I'll select everything, and then I'll right click, and I'll say, select everything, and then I'll press M, and I'll mesh by distance to mesh these two to become a single edge ring. So now I can right click, and I'll say shade smooth. Let's put our origin here. So Shift S, cursor to selected, and then go to object mode, right click, set origin to 3D cursor. Cool. So now I think I also want to do some little tweaking. I'll go to edit mode, and I'll select this vertex, and then I will turn on my proportional editing, and I'm going to switch my proportional editing to sphere. So time to fix the rope. Very simple. We're going to use a curve. So I'll press Shift A, and then curve, and I'll select circle. And I'm going to rotate it in the Y 90 degrees. Let's scale it down, then just put it somewhere around here. Okay, I think I need to rotate it in the Z 90 degrees. Yep, this is cool. So now we'll go to the curve, we'll go to edit mode, and then with everything selected, I'll press S and X to scale it down. Let's turn off our proportional editing. So now I'll move this one down, I'll scale it, and I'll select the rest of them, and then I'll press S and X to move it, to scale it till I got to somewhere around here. This part I'm thinking of deleting, but let's still leave it. Might be useful. Okay, so I'll go to object mode, and then I'll come to the curve data tab, and then I'll click on it. I'll scroll down to geometry, and then I'll just increase the depth value to be somewhere here, 0.09, let's 0.06. Okay, I think this is fine. Or I want to scale this out some more, and then this one's I'm going to put it, I'll move it up like this. Let's select all three of them like this, and then I'll press P to separate. I'll go to object mode to have a separate object, and I'm going to rotate this in the Z 90 degrees. So I have something like this, press H to hide it. Now let's select this one, and then adjust it. So I'm going to rotate it RZ till somewhere around here, so I have it a little bit twisted. And this one too, I'm going to rotate it just a tad. So we select everything. I'll come to segment and I'll say subdivide. To create a new subdivision, I'll scale this one down a bit and I'm going to rotate it some more. I'll select this one and then I'll rotate it in the opposite direction to have that twisting. Now I can scale it out. Let's move this one up some more. Let's see. Scale it in. I'm just adjusting. Okay, nice. So let's bring back the one we hit before and let's start adjusting to match our reference. I'll select the bottom one and I'll select the anchor point here. And then I'll press Alt S to reduce the size a tad. Okay. Let's bring in a torus. It's very big. And then let's reduce the count to be 16. Let's do 8. Okay, so I'll scale it down. Somewhere around here, but it's not thick enough, so I think we need more space around here, okay? But first of all, let's fix the thickness. I'll go to edit mode and I'll press Alt S and I'm just going to increase the thickness like this. Again, Alt S, and I think this is fine. So let's adjust this. Let's move everything backwards so we'll have more space. Okay, as for this, I'm gonna scale it down some more. And then I'll duplicate it with Shift D and put it here. Cool. We're still going to work on it. We're not done with it. Let's right click and do Shade Smooth. And this, let's duplicate it. Then let's add one more duplicate. I'll go to edit mode, select the base, and then I'll move it like this. I'll select this ones like this, and then I'll rotate it, and then I'll move it some more. Let's hide this so we can see what we have. I think this is fine. I'm going to increase this one thickness, go to edit mode, and then I'll press Alt S. But now I would want, I'm seeing this part, I want to fix this, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'll select all three of them, I'll go to edit mode, and then I'll select the last control point, and then I'll press Alt S to reduce the size. Can select the next control point and then Alt S again. So now let's start adjusting. So this part is too big, so we really have to fix it. Let's delete it and then let's first of all, so let's bring in the source and I'm going to scale it down. Okay, so let's make it thicker. Turn off proportional editing and then Alt S. Okay, this is good. And then I'll scale it out a bit. Let's move it away from the handle. Somewhere around here is fine. So this one, I will go to sculpt mode and then I'll press G to enter my grab brush. Let's enable the Y. Yep, let's enable Y symmetry. So whatever I do in one point is going to be active in the other side, okay? So I'm just going to do this. Let's hide this mesh so we can see this part of our mesh, okay? Back to sculpt mode and then still using the grab brush. I'm just moving around. Okay, so I can select this and then I'll press Ctrl plus to scale it down some more, just a tad. Yep, this is fine. Select this one back and then I'll right click and I'll say shade smooth. Turn on proportional editing and I'm going to do this. So just trying to match the reference to the best of my ability. And then I can shift it to duplicate this one, move it down. I'll go to the sculpt brush since I don't want it to be same thing. So I'll just start sculpting to get a different feel, okay? You can see it does not look like the previous one. I still feel this one should like I don't know how to describe it. Okay, I think this is enough tweaking. Next thing, I'll select all three of them, and since they're all curve objects, I'll press Ctrl J to join them to become one curve object. And then under the curve data tab, I'll reduce the resolution to 6. And then I'll right click and I'll say convert to mesh. And I'll click on this menu here and I'll click keep original. So in case I have issues, I can always fall back to it. And then I'm going to move it up into the reference folder. As for this, I'll join them together. So let's see what we have. I think this is okay. This one, same thing. Let's make it to be 6. Resolution to be 6. I think 6 is too small for this one. Let's make it 8. Okay, 8 resolution is good for this one. And then right click, convert to mesh. Make sure keep original is active. So now we can move this one to the reference folder and hide it. So let's join them together. Ctrl J. Let's bring in the torus again for this part. Okay. So let's scale it down, move it, scale it down, rotate in the X 90 degrees, sorry, in the Y 90 degrees. So I'll go to edit mode and then I'll press Alt S. is nice. Now let's join all of them together. So let's join them together and then let's name it, let's say bead. Should we call this one? I think, let's say hook. Okay. And then let's move everything to this collection. And that's it for this part, guys. In the next video, we are going to be adding the leather wrapping to the handle. If you've enjoyed this video, smash that like button, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And I'll see you in the next part. Peace.